Her name is Cupcake. She is a kitty. And she's so lazy she just sleeps in bed all day. Her name is Cupcake. She is so pretty. And she's so lazy she just sleeps in bed all day. It's the Comedy Cupcake. It's the Comedy Cupcake. It's the Comedy Cupcake. It's the Comedy Cupcake Show.
Welcome to the Comedy Cupcake Show, hosted by your favorite comedy couple, Lila Hart and Eric Abbenante. It is Thursday, July 9th. How are you doing, baby girl?
I am doing great because we are in July. And July is a very special month. Did you know that, Eric?
I did, but why is it a special month? Because of July the 4th?
No, because of my birthday.
Oh, yes, that's right. That is right.
July 14th. I will be 29, baby. So these are the last few moments or few days, jeez. The last few days of me being a 28-year-old lady. July is my birthday month. Obviously, it's the 4th of July, but here's another fun fact. Something I didn't know, and I just found out too. July also happens to be Disability Pride Month. I have spina bifida. I am disabled. I had no idea that July was Disability Pride Month, and all my 29 years on Earth, I had no idea. And
28.
28, okay. But, you know, it's going to be my 29th birthday, so you get the point. I found out through Instagram that it was Disability Pride Month, and, you know...
What do you think about that? I'm curious.
Well... There were some posts by my friends who happen to be disabled, which were really inspiring, and in a way, I felt empowered by it. So as a disabled woman, I do feel empowered by my disability, but it took work to get here. Many years to get to this point where I have accepted my disability. I'm okay with my disability. But the pride of my disability, I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Kudos to people who are, but I just feel like, you know, I get it, because it's like June, you have gay pride, right? And then July, you have disability pride. And, you know, I didn't choose to be disabled. I was born this way.
Well, it's really interesting because, you know, February is Black History Month. You know, it's like, so I thought it would have been a pretty interesting, you know, title to be like, oh, this is Disability History Month. But no, this has to be Disability Pride Month. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I get the sentiment, and I think it's great to have acceptance for disability. I don't know. I feel funny about it, but I'm getting there.
Let me ask you, do you feel like in 2019, let's say you did a very uninformal poll of the disabled community, what percentage would be okay versus not okay with the term disabled itself? Let's just start there.
You know what? Well, I think in 2019, I would say 2009. We'd have to go back 10 years.
Okay, let's start there.
In 2009, I didn't even talk about being disabled. I mean, disabled wasn't even a word I was saying. So what I feel is, I think it's great that in 2020 we have disability pride, and I think if you're proud to be disabled, that is good for you. But I also feel like if God came down and was like, you know, Lila, I could fix this, I'd be like, who do I gotta sacrifice?
Why'd you point at me?
Okay, these are jokes, people. I am grateful to have come to terms with my disability. Would I say that I'm proud of my disability? I guess in a way, I am proud to be the woman I am today, and my disability has, in a big part, shaped me to get to this point. I mean, literally shaped me, because I have scoliosis. So, you know. But that's just a fun fact, Eric. It's Disability Pride Month. It's my birthday month, meaning I think I should just get double the presents and double the love.
Oh, wow. So now it's like Disability Pride Month is like Christmas / Hanukkah / Kwanzaa.
Yes,
all
yes it is.
Or I said Ramadan all rolled into one.
Yes. You know what? I am proud of this spine. This spina bifida baddie. That's what I am, a spina bifida baddie. I came up with that term. Hashtag spina bifida baddie. Look it up. It's all pictures of me and other spina bifida hot chicks. Because we bad out there, you know. Shout out to all my disabled ladies that are sexy, because disabled bodies are sexy. Eric likes to fuck, so.
I mean,
he's into it.
How many spina bifida baddies are there? Could you fill a calendar?
Oh, yeah. I should just make a calendar. That's what
Yeah,
I'm going to do.
that'd be great.
I'm going to make a spina bifida baddie calendar with all my spina bifida baddie babes. That's what I'm going to do.
And
scoliosis and just disabled hot chicks.
So you're going to be July?
I'm going to be July. So great.
And I put the Jew in July in that month.
Oh, my God. You're so funny. Okay. Well, now that we've gotten through that, happy Disability Pride Month. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, and quick sidebar. I have secured the presents, multiple presents for the birthday. It's going to be a good one. Definitely better than the last couple of years when I was a little more on the broke side. So
the broke side. No, you know what? One of the best presents you ever gave me was this letter that you wrote me on Valentine's Day. It was like a really sweet letter. I don't know where it is. I need to find it. Mm-hmm. But sorry.
It was about how I was gonna lay you down good.
No, it was just a really sweet letter about how you thought I was an amazing woman. And you also gave me this balloon that you got from the dollar store. And I still have the balloon. I still have it. I want to frame it and put it in like this. I don't know. I'm really sentimental like that.
Framing a balloon, that might be a first.
I want to frame it. I'm sentimental like that. It's because I'm a Cancer. If you're into horoscopes. Cancer, sun sign here.
Oh, okay. I'm a Virgo, and I also really don't care about the astrology, I guess it is.
Well, you should, Eric, if you want to fuck tonight. So
I love astrology. I'm a tarot card reader. I'm into all of it. I'm into
great.
you, girl.
Oh, I love that. So, yeah. Also, July the 4th, we did celebrate the 4th of July. We did, which is very controversial in 2020. And, you know, the reason I celebrate the 4th of July is because my mom is from the Philippines, and it was always her dream to come to America, and I was born in America. And I am proud to be an American because I saw where my mom comes from and the struggles that she had to go through to come to this country, the lands of the free, the home of the brave.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I will say this. God bless the USA, baby. And I love Jesus.
Yep. I
love this Jew.
Oh, I love you. We for July the 4th, I'll put it up right here. We had we both wore red, white, and blue. You know, because July the 4th is like the Disability Pride Month of the calendar year for America. It's like America Pride Day, essentially. You know, so I do find it funny. Like we can split ourselves off into little groups and have our Pride months and our History Month, but we can't have an American Pride Day, not just one day. We can be proud to be an American. We have to be like upset about it.
Not in 2020, Eric. We should be ashamed to be Americans in 2020, according to Twitter.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess happiness doesn't really sell very well for the media. They don't really get ratings off of happiness.
No, not these days.
Which is weird. You'd think, because I think there was a time in the media where they figured out, oh, these puppy stories, these like, cute little, happy stories, they get us some ratings, but, the murder, the sex, the violence, the terror, that really gets us ratings. And so they just feel like, all right, let's blow that out. Let's just do that. But yeah, July the 4th was really fun. And, didn't you get a little flack for even just wearing red, white, and blue? Like that was like a Klan hood.
It's funny, on Instagram in my stories, I posted me in my red, white, and blue, and I just talked about, how I am grateful to be an American. I'm grateful for everything that my mom went through to come to this country and, my parents' love story. And I'm just, I am proud to be an American. And I could definitely tell that, first of all, there were some people who normally like my stuff who didn't like that post or comment, and I recognize that you didn't like it, which I just think is so interesting to me. And then, there's other people who, I knew some tweets were about me, but I was like, okay,
Man, that's got to be so interesting because I'm like a ghost in this world. I just kind of like travel through it, and no one really sees or acknowledges me. I'm just like kind of a normal person. But you're like famous, pretty much like. And I I mean
funny.
that casually, but still like you have all the the markers of fame. Like people talk about you in certain ways. You get controversy for just benign things you do. People adore you. So it's just like watching you deal with even
I guess.
a small level of fame. How do you deal with that? Because I have trouble getting compliments. It's
You
like
know
for
what it
you it
is?
must be like way different.
Here's the thing that I think is funny. The way I represent myself online, how I talk in my stories, even how we're doing this podcast is I really do pride myself in the fact that like what you see is what you're going to get. And I think a lot of people have a hard time believing that I'm actually as happy or actually as friendly as I, show myself to be online. And I'm just being myself, and if people, I thought it was kind of funny when people didn't like that I was posting about America, but I'm not going to change my views because it's not popular, or you know what I'm talking about? Like I'm not
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to I'm a comedian. I'm a stand-up comedian. So I go on stage and say things a lot of people are afraid to say. So I'm not going to change my Instagram and change the way I post in my stories because I'm afraid of what people are going to think.
Yeah, I think the best way to put it is like a lot of entertainers who aren't successful, like when you start out as a comedian or a musician or whatever, a lot of entertainers in general, they're going to let the audience dictate their behavior instead of you being the one who dictates your own behavior and then, dictating the audience that you end up getting from said behavior. And I feel like you fall on more of the latter category of, you don't let the audience, control what you do.
I always remind myself that, like, if I ever just got annoyed or too upset or if it was overwhelming, I could literally just throw my phone off the roof. I could just throw my phone off the roof, and then all that whole Instagram, Twitter world just doesn't exist. You know what's left? My beautiful home, my plants, my Venus flytrap, all my fish, my turtle, and my cupcake. And, of course, the love of my life. So I think I have a very happy real life. That the social part of things, it's really more of a place for me to inspire others to live their own authentic truth. You don't have to agree with what I do, but you should just be happy doing with what you want to do.
Yeah, well, I find that especially, these days, the social networks that we've, created, they were meant to connect people, but they've really become anti-social networks. They really divide and, make people feel more separate from each other. We don't really have a lot of connection with it. When I first met you, in the beginning days of Channel 3.0, I was struck at how, yes, like what you're talking about, that your personality really did match your online profile, but even more so in the sense that, online can only capture so much. There was a lot of substance to Lila, and that was the number one thing I was most attracted to, was just the fact that you really, your intellect was much higher than, your online activity would suggest. Not that, you come off as stupid, but it's just like you can't really capture the full essence of who you are online in a post or a small snippet of a video. And I feel that's something that we don't understand about social media is you're only getting a small snippet, a facade that was created for online. You don't really get the full breadth of who someone is, good and bad. And that's why we kind of idolize and tear people down. Those are like the two modes we have. Oh my God, goat, queen, goddess, amazing person. Oh my God, this person is a racist piece of shit and they're wearing a Klan hood and we need to cancel them.
And then that person dies and it goes back to, oh my gosh, they were so amazing, gone too soon, R.I.P., we love you.
Yeah, and so it's just like, I feel that in this media era, it's kind of hard to really be nuanced and capture both sides of the argument because that's not very profitable. That's not very exciting. eliciting outrage or admiration. Those are the two things that really sell. Other than that, if you're not doing those things, you're just, boring.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to talk shit about somebody and point out everything that they're doing wrong than it is to take a look into your own life and be like, where are areas that I can improve? What is it that I can do to better myself, right? And I think that as I've gotten older and as I approach 29 and become a 29-year-old plant lady.
So wise.
My objective for this year is to really focus more on my health and things that I can do to bring myself inner peace and joy and happiness, and to really, really think about how I talk about people, and to be less judgmental towards others. I think I'm not perfect. I've been judgmental. I've been a person that has judged people for what they've done, and it's like, anytime that I'm doing that, I know that it's rooted in the fact that I don't want to look at the areas in my life that I could improve. Because it's so much easier to just be like, that person is shitty and I'm better than them.
Yeah, I would say online, the two things that you see the least are, one, I don't know, and two, I was wrong. It's just like that. Those are such rare things to see online because everyone has to be perfect. No one can make mistakes. And I think it breeds into a level of narcissism that our generation really has. And, I think that's a product of us staring into our phones all the time, being able to literally take these things called selfies, and then being on Twitter where we see how many likes our opinion gets. And so it's just, it's one of those things where I think we have really bred a perfect environment for narcissism to foment and really fester.
You know what? And here's another thing too. I think that every single human has a level of narcissism to them. And it's about whether or not you can keep that narcissism in check, recognize it, and then stop thinking about yourself so much and start thinking about others. To think that there's narcissists and people who aren't narcissists is like, no, we're all a bit narcissistic, okay? I just took 20 selfies before this started. Why? Because I'm looking good and I feel good about myself. Was it a little narcissistic? Yes, but I can admit that, and I think that we're like, that person's a narcissist and I'm not. And it's like, no, I'm like 5% narcissistic. Some days it's like 25%, it fluctuates, and it's about keeping yourself in check and being honest with yourself. The fact that anybody has an Instagram or a Twitter is narcissistic. Like, the fact that you believe that your opinion matters so much that you want followers and fans and you need people to validate you in some sort of way, there's a level of narcissism there.
Yeah.
In a way, honey, I do admire the fact that you don't really care about Instagram or selfies. I do not think we could be together if you were taking selfies all day. I would be very confused.
Yeah, well, I think we have a different relationship with social media in general, and I can't say that, if I had your following, maybe my habits would be adjusted or not. I don't know.
I saw you take a selfie, and it didn't look good, so...
Yeah, I had to do one for an official situation, and it was like my mom. When I first taught my mom how to... This
selfie was like, it was an up angle, and I was like, Eric, why didn't you ask me to take the picture for you? And he was like, no, they said I needed a selfie. And I'm like, I know, but I could have taken it, and it could have looked like a selfie because you literally look like a grandpa who just figured out, who accidentally took a photo of himself. That's what it looked like. That's what the selfie looked like.
I've taken less than 100 pictures of myself from a front-facing camera. Definitely. I don't think to me it's just a different thing. I don't have the skill. Like I said, when I was teaching my mom how to take a selfie, her first attempt she missed. She took a picture of the ceiling. So it is genetic. It's not like, just something me. Certain people either really, they really like taking pictures of themselves because there's, a lot to love.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The reason I am so good at selfies is because for many years I was really trying to hide the disability part of myself. So I was like, let me figure out the angle to make myself look the most normal. I was not disability prideful at that point in my life. Okay, I was disability shameful, and I was trying to get the right angles, which now makes me an incredible photographer because trust me, I spent hours being like, oh, okay, my back looks the most normal here, or if I stand this way, my legs will look like they're the same size because one of my legs really doesn't look. It's a mess.
It has slight muscle atrophy. I love that leg.
Slight muscle atrophy? There is no muscle there. It has zero muscle. It is skin and bone. The calf is gone.
She'll shake it once in a while, and it's
called shaky foot. And I can't move my toes on my left foot. You know what? Actually, Eric, talking about this I'm just full of pride right now. I'm full of disability pride. I'm just so... I guess I'm just so happy that I have this level of confidence, and it took many years to get here that I could just be like, yeah, I got a weird little leg that I just shake around, I slap them with it, it's cool. But yeah, I'm a great selfie taker because I used to catfish.
Catfish pride month.
I guess it'd be called I was able-bodied catfishing. I was like, ooh.
You were appropriating my people's culture, the able-bodied.
I was.
Yeah, no, it is. I think that's part of what you were getting at earlier. If we could circle back to the Disability Pride Month, it's just to assume that everyone has pride in their situation and saying, oh, maybe if you're still struggling with dealing with it, oh, you should feel like shit because everyone should be prideful of their situation. I wasn't prideful of just being myself until I was 24.
But you know what? I think it's a good initiative, honey. I think it's a good initiative, and maybe when I was younger, if there would have been more. Actually, I know for sure if there would have been Instagram or TikTok when I was younger and disability was popping, I would have been one of those TikTok peoples, and I probably would have made it. I've been like, look at this back, and then people be like, I'm gonna follow her because that's weird and interesting.
That still seems exploitative of because you're disabled, we can get likes off you.
You know what it is a journey. I don't know the right answers to this. I go back and forth between I like the Disability Month, I don't like it, because I'm still on a journey of it. And I'm sorry, but you can't really speak on the subject too much because you don't get it. I'm
not one of the people.
You're not really disabled like that, so you don't really understand. Speaking of which, I want to bring up the next topic. There's a movie that's coming out called Come As You Are. And it was filmed in the UK, and it's about 3 disabled guys who go on a coming of age story. And I saw the preview for this, and it was on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. Until I found out not a single actor was disabled. Not a single actor was disabled. All the actors were regular dudes pretending to be disabled. And that was so infuriating for me because first of all, the disabled community, we are the largest group, okay? So don't tell me you cannot find a disabled actor. There is a lot of freaking people disabled out there in the world. And number 2, there are a lot of really talented disabled actors right here in Los Angeles. I'm friends with half of them. So it's just frustrating. I just don't understand the thought process in making that movie. Man, we're going to make a movie about disabled people, yet we're not even going to talk to a real disabled person. We're not going to look for disabled actors. We're just going to get these regular, ably-bodied people and just plop them in a chair. And then I didn't like it.
Are you saying they were in disabled face?
Yes. Yes, it's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. Don't you have to be a really good actor to play something that you aren't? I mean, where does this end? Because
Okay, hold on. Here's the thing, though, Eric. You have to think about who's the demographic, who's going to watch this movie. And if you're offending the entirety of the community who's going to watch the movie, your movie's not going to get good ratings.
Oh yeah, no.
It's like why would I have a movie about a Chinese person and then make a black guy
Matt Damon, yeah, Matt Damon, and there was someone else who did that. But yeah, I get what you're saying on that. That's a good argument.
So again, Mr. Devil's Advocate, again, you are not disabled, so you don't get to really speak on this issue. Just saying, unless you want me to break one of your legs, and then, you could chirp away all you want to about it. I mean, I was born this way. You could join the team. Please don't, though, because I need you to help me.
Well, no, it's an interesting argument. I was just like, let's, it won't be fun if we disagree the whole time. So I'll keep pushing you further with this. So, I've seen movies, like where it's like a sports movie, and the people who are the actors aren't necessarily,
Eric,
like baseball people or football people.
No, the thing is, Eric, they didn't even go out of they didn't even look. They didn't even try to look. That's where, and it's not like any of these actors were anybody famous or anybody that's like, a couple of these actors look like it was the first time they were in a movie. Like it wasn't anybody that was special. And okay, I feel like I'm like a Twitter angry mob leftist person right now, but like I'm angry with you, and I'm not gonna fuck you tonight because of that little devil's advocate moment.
It's not even my argument. It's just an argument that's going to be brought up. Please don't take away the sex from me. Oh man, that would be so tragic for me.
See, this is what I see. This is how I'm learning, how it's different as a disabled person. Like my emotions can get fluctuated. You know what I'm saying? Because in a way, like I am really strong. Like, I've come so far with my disability, and I feel this way. But then there's like this part of me that like a regular able-bodied person can say something, and it's just like, you don't get it. You just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
being
but
honest with you.
Pushing you has given me arguments where I get it more. I really like that. I mean, the funny part when you were saying that they overlooked some people,
they didn't even look. And so, because even your comment of you saying, oh, well, I'm going to play devil's advocate, and maybe they need an actor that's like this. It's like, it's going against, you're already in, it sounds like you're saying that, well, there's no way a disabled person could be an incredible actor. There's a lot of disabled people who are better actors than some regular bodied people, And I think that sometimes it sucks that there's this separation. But if you're going to make a movie about disabled people, when number one, there isn't very many movies about disabled people at all, can we at least use a disabled actor? Because we don't even get to... A disabled actor doesn't even get to audition for some regular parts. So when there's a movie that's made about disabled people, can we give it to the disabled person? Like, there shouldn't even be an argument here.
Well, that's why I pushed you, because that was also a really funny argument. So one more thing. So there was like a little person or a person in a wheelchair, and then the casting director literally overlooked them. Is that what you're saying?
Eric, they didn't even look for a disabled actor. They just, and that's why I'm so heated and upset right now, because it just, you're showing your ableism, there's a term for it.
My privilege.
You're showing your privilege and your ableism when you say something like, well, they should have an actor like this because of that. But it's like, disabled people, your disability does not define what you can and can't do when it comes to acting if you're an actor that's disabled.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean...
When it's a part for disability.
I mean, it doesn't mean these are my opinions necessarily, but I'm going to bring you what the counter argument would be. But this is why I did that, because you gave some really eloquent arguments in response to that. So I really think I got what I wanted. And I'm not getting out of this argument. I need to change the cameras really quick. So we will continue this in just one moment.
And we are back. Welcome back, honey.
The camera crew is doing a great job.
That was great. I'm glad that we had that little argument. And, okay, did you know what ableism is? Do you know what that means?
Me?
No. And You're digging yourself in a hole.
No. Wait, that's something only an able-bodied person can do, right? Dig?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
No, I know. I get what you're saying. Ableism is most likely, someone who isn't disabled, not understanding your perspective and just assuming that, everyone has it like us.
Well, ableism is actually, it's kind of like, oh my god, why am I having a brain fart? See now? Ableism is like, okay, for example, when I wasn't let into the sorority because they didn't want to be known as a house with a crippled girl. Ableism is like a prejudice against disabled people, or thinking that disabled people can't do certain things. Like when you thought, oh, well, when you made your devil's advocate point about maybe a regular actor would be better at playing the role of a disabled person. It's like, no.
Well,
a disabled actor would be the best person to play the role of a disabled actor. Like, what? Just like a little person would be the best person to play the role of a little person. No, it's like, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to CGI this. We're going to shrink them down. We're going to make them look like a little person. Because, little people, they can't really act. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be ableism.
Wait, so we shouldn't do a green screen thing with Matt Damon for the next movie? I mean, I think that would be great. No,
and it makes me sad because we're fighting so much for things like Disability Pride Month, and also here's the worst part about it: they're releasing the movie during Disability Pride Month. Oh my gosh, it's so sad.
That's very funny. Look, it's Cuppy.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Cuppy's here.
Hi, Cupcake. You're so cute. Aww. If there was a movie about a white cat, we would just put a black cat in and paint it white. You know why? Because they'd probably be friendlier than you, Cupcake. So.
No, we would love Cupcake to play herself. She's perfect for the role.
No, Eric. Why would we have Cupcake play herself when we could just find a cat in the alley and spray paint it? I just don't understand why would we even have Cupcake if the movie was called Cupcake? Play Cupcake. Makes no sense.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be devil's advocate here. And what if there was just, a cat at the shelter who was much more talented than Cupcake, even though Cupcake lives with us and she's right here and she's perfect for the role? Let's just have the cat at the shelter play it. We'll just leave Cupcake there.
Yeah, it's like that Lewis Black joke where Lewis Black had to audition to play himself and he lost out on the role.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it actually happens in Hollywood. I think that's what you're not understanding is this is a tried and true argument in Hollywood. Hollywood is so crazy that they've had people audition to play themselves and lost. So,
you know what, though, Eric? Hollywood needs to burn down. It's full of pedophiles and satanic sex cults and,
But not North Hollywood.
Not North Hollywood, but Hollywood needs to go down. Free the kids. Where are the kids, Ellen?
Ellen?
DeGeneres.
Ooh.
She just called Ellen D because we know she ain't generous anymore.
So stupid. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Okay, honey. So we have a brand new monologue Eric is going to read for us.
Oh, Cupcake loved it so much she jumped off the table. She just wants to be full in attention for my monologue. I am so excited. So I think that my...
You better edit that out. That's disgusting. That's fucking gross.
No, I'm going to keep that in.
What the hell's wrong with you? Gosh.
It's called gas. It's one of the 3 states that matter can be in, okay?
You accept me for my disability, but I don't accept you for your gas issues.
You got to accept me in any state I'm in, baby. Anyways, so I feel like my monologues have been getting better, so...
No, it sucks.
It was the devil's advocate. It wasn't me. It was the devil.
Okay, the devil doesn't need an advocate, okay? The devil runs this motherfucking waiting for him. And the devil ain't gonna get you laid. You know who's gonna get you laid? Jesus. Jesus will save you.
Yeah.
You better stop praying.
Well, that means a Jew is helping out another Jew, so that's great.
That's great. That's
All
funny.
right. So let's get back to my monologue.
Go ahead.
All right. My monologue. Now that the media is unable to generate the same furor for protest, they have moved to a new sector of outrage, Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh.
The media has dubbed him to have the world's largest pedophile ring, but this is a gross exaggeration. The world's largest pedophile ring happens to be owned by the Chinese Communist Party. In the province of Xinjiang, there is a concentration camp holding an estimated 1.5 million Uyghurs in detention since 2017.
Oh my
Uyghurs
God.
are an ethnic minority group of Muslims in China. And these camps are called re-education camps because the CCP has re-educated themselves on how to rebrand concentration camps since the days of the Nazis. The CCP claims these are just Orwellian-style re-education camps, which is horrific enough of a concept. But make no mistake, there is genocide via organ harvesting being committed at these camps. These majority Muslim organs are sold at a very high price to wealthy Arab clients across the world due to the attraction of purchasing halal organs. The horrors committed go deeper than that. The male Uyghur Muslims are forced to undergo sterilization so that they cannot propagate their Muslim genes. Female Uyghur Muslims undergo mass-scale rape and forced abortions while attending these re-education camps. Make no mistake, this is the largest scale of ring of sexual assault and pedophilia in the world's history. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell may have famous names to drop, but Xi Jinping and Wang Qishan have more names to drop, 1.5 million to be exact. Since the media cannot foment outrage and therefore ratings about this topic, the media does not care about Uyghur Muslims. Uyghur Muslim lives do not matter. The estimated 1.5 million that reside in this camp would top the largest concentration camp in the Nazi regime, Auschwitz, which peaked at 1.3 million. The horrors are, to a word, unspeakable, because that is exactly the situation that is occurring in CCP's China. In November of 2016, while we were here in America, we were complaining about a president being duly elected, Xi Jinping and the CCP passed its Four Consciousness laws. This made it illegal to not only criticize the leaders of the CCP, like Xi Jinping, it became illegal to criticize the party itself, policies passed by the party, and members of the party. Talking about the concentration camps in China has become unspeakable. The concentration camps in China may be unspeakable for the Chinese, but the CCP has found ways to profit off of Uyghur Muslims beyond organ harvesting. Just a week ago, U.S. Customs officials seized 13 tons of hair that is used to supply the weaves we wear in America. As if these concentration camps weren't Orwellian enough for you, the CCP shaves the hair of the Uyghur Muslims who reside in these camps. Just like how the Jews worked in the factories of IG Farben, present-day Bayer, Uyghur Muslims are forced to work in the factories of these concentration camps. Currently, 83 global brands, including Adidas, Apple, Amazon, BMW, Calvin Klein, Gap, General Motors, Google, Huawei, Jaguar, Microsoft, Nike, Nintendo, Nokia, Panasonic, Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, Victoria's Secret, and many others worldwide, known brands have been profiting off of Uyghur Muslim concentration camp labor. Say what you want about Jeffrey Epstein, but at least he paid his victims and let a majority of them go home to their families after the abuse. Compared to the CCP, the working conditions he provided were luxurious. The CCP oversees the largest slave population in the world and the history of the world. Why is the media of the free world not made the population aware of this? Because the media are owned by the corporations who are profiting off of this slavery. I assume if you are a human being who isn't making money off of the Uyghur concentration camp labor, you would want to put a stop to this, or at the very least, speak out about these crimes against humanity. Well, before you do that, make sure you do not have family that resides in the reach of the areas controlled by the CCP. Let's look at the disturbing case of Uyghur American activist and Washington State graduate Rushan Abbas. Rushan's sister Gulshan, a retired medical doctor, was sent to the Uyghur concentration camp as retaliation to Rushan's activism exposing the CCP war crimes against the Uyghurs. 6 days after Rushan spoke at a panel discussing this, Rushan's sister and aunt were detained. 21 months later, Rushan's sister and aunt are still in the concentration camp, presumably growing hair for weaves while being raped and forced to have abortions. In the world of the CCP, if one commits a benign action that the insecure CCP deems a crime, your whole family gets punished. Living in CCP's China means you have no rights. None. The so-called Constitution constantly changes, and they can change the rules at any time to get you in trouble, whenever they see fit. Living in China is worse than what they tell you in America when you are arrested. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say will be used in a court of law. That's like living free in CCP's China, except worse because there is no court of law. Simply thrown into jail without examination by a third party. In China, there is no third party or no second party. There is only the Chinese Communist Party. Jeffrey Epstein or any American has never even approached the human rights violations that Xi Jinping's Chinese Communist Party has committed. The worst part is, we will never know the full extent of the crimes committed against humanity because it is illegal to speak out. Xi Jinping's firewall has been China's true Great Wall of China. We will never understand this concept in America. In America, we strive to get followers on social media by speaking out against authorities such as the police. In CCP's China, speaking out against authorities will get the police to follow your family. Epstein's crimes were horrific, make no mistake, but they were not unspeakable. His victims got to have their day in court. Xi Jinping's crimes are unspeakable. We will never know how many victims never got to see the light of day. Americans do not understand this concept. Although the George Floyd murder was a tragic horror, it was not unspeakable. We were allowed to take a video of the corruption from authorities. We were allowed to post it on social media without it being taken down. We were allowed to protest in the streets regarding this overstepping by authority, and we were allowed to propose changes to prevent authority from committing these acts again. We do not realize how lucky we are to have all these rights covered by one amendment, the First Amendment. As imperfect as America has been, we have never had the unspeakable horrors that the CCP's China has and is currently undergoing. And at the very least, we should understand the strength we have in being able to criticize and speak out about our tragedies. What makes me proudest to be an American is being able to criticize my government as much as I love it. That is patriotism.
That was interesting.
So not my best work.
Okay, well, I see where you were going with things. First of all, I appreciate all, if I'm being the devil's advocate.
Ooh, throwing it back at me. I like this.
Okay, so I appreciate you, using our podcast to shine light on the horrors that are happening in the CCP. But I believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed children. I believe that there is a pedophile sex ring in Hollywood.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
But
I just don't think it's on the scale, and it's definitely not going to get as much coverage as what's going on currently and has been going on for years.
Okay, but it hasn't gotten the coverage yet, Eric. It's happening. In the things that I look at and spend my time on Instagram reading Q. So, anyways, yeah, it was good. I liked how you tied things up in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I just think that there's a lot of things with Jeffrey Epstein that we don't know.
Oh, let's talk about that.
I think there's a lot of stuff that I have this belief that there is a larger ring of people who are involved with Jeffrey Epstein, including some of our most beloved people that we idolize on TV and have for many years. And I believe that these people have done unspeakable, horrible things to children, and that it's going to shock the world when they find out.
So you think, because there's three big names that get brought up over and over, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. And, you think there's a lot more names than that. And I think it's a very, that's a good argument. It's going to be hard to refute that, because that's why they call it the tip of the iceberg.
I believe that what we have been told in our history is false. I believe that a lot of things have been hidden from us. Like, I don't think Mother Teresa was as great as everybody claims that she is. I think she was selling babies and eating them. I think a lot of people are eating babies. And, yeah, there's some sick shit that's happening.
Well, I think in the end...
Your monologue was good, okay, honey? It was good. You just put me in a bad mood. So it was really hard for me to be like, oh, yeah.
I mentioned Washington State.
Oh, it's so hard for me. See, but this is how you guys know that I keep it real, okay? I keep it real on my Instagram, on this motherfucking podcast. If I'm not feeling it, I'm gonna let you know. Like, I ain't fucking him tonight. Like, you messed up.
I mean, no, she's lying there. We're definitely having sex tonight.
I'm just, honey, I'm sorry. The whole time you were reading your monologue, I was just like, I'm really upset about the disability thing. Why am I disabled? Why do I have to be disabled? Why is it like this for me? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have a lot of emotions. I clearly still have a lot to figure out. And I hopefully, when I reach my 30s, this part of me could be fixed, because it's not. I'm sorry. It was really hard for me to pay attention to your monologue. Because I was just like thinking about my disability pride or lack thereof. I don't know. I'm confused.
So should we circle back to the disability pride thing? Do you still want to talk about it? I feel like
no,
you do.
I don't. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about the fact that it's been a hard week. We used to have 2 turtles. Now we only have 1, because the bigger turtle ate the ass of the other turtle.
And not in the fun way.
Not in the fun way. And it didn't leave the turtle disabled. No, it fucking just left it dead. It was dead. So we lost Squirt. We lost Squirt this week.
We love Squirt. And
God, you know what? Okay, can I just say, how privileged am I as an American that after you just read me some horrible, horrible things that are happening in China to these Uyghurs. Is it Uyghurs?
Uyghurs.
Oh
Jesus. Luckily.
Okay, to these Uyghurs. Maybe when they get freed, they can make the term good or something. Anyways, what is it?
Uyghurs.
These Uyghurs, God, they're going through some shit, and it's horrible. And I'm over here being like,
my turtle,
Disability Pride Month. Why wasn't a disabled actor playing a disabled role? They're getting their head shaved. They didn't get to celebrate Pride for shit. Oh my God. See, I am a narcissist. I'm at a level 50% right now of narcissism. I was halfway into that, and then a halfway. See, this goes back, circle back. Narcissism. Got to check yourself. See, honey, it was stirring in me.
Yeah, well.
Oh my God. Okay.
Well, for me, the whole point of the monologue was to talk about scale and proportion. How, we have a certain level of outrage for certain things, but there's something on a larger scale and proportion.
What's messed up? I was more outraged about your devil's advocate talking about maybe be an able-bodied person. I was more outraged than when you read all that. I was like,
and 1.5 million. Who cares?
I was like,
None of them could have played the disabled role, anyways.
God, I got a lot to work on. This is getting me. It was a great model.
Oh wow, thank you.
It was great. It was great, honey. I love you.
Oh, I love you. Yeah, it's well, no, I
see. And here's another thing, people. I hope you watch this in full. Don't just take one part and be like, "Oh, look at that asshole," or that narcissist. You have to watch. This is what's like. You have to look at the full picture of things. I think people forget that they'll just take like one snippet, and I'll be like, I don't know. Actually, go ahead. Do what you gonna do. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. You know, you are an American
or whatever you are.
Whatever you are. If you can watch this right now, you have some level of freedom, which is allowing you access to this, and which means that you have some level of success because you got a phone, you got a tablet, you got a computer, and you can watch this. So do something with your life.
Well, I think what you touched on was really important. So, you know, to your community, you know, the movie that you're talking about was really important to you because that's your community. And you know a lot of people who are in that world. How many Uyghurs do you know? Did you even hear about the term?
No, because I called them the wrong thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at is like, you know, we have trouble, you know, connecting to things that aren't about us. For me, this is a little personal because of, you know, the Jewish connection. And, you know, we know a little bit about concentration camps. Maybe if I didn't have, you know, direct, ancestors and, you know, descendants.
See, that you're right, because that's why I care about disability so much, because I'm part of that community. Would I care if I didn't know what it was like? Probably not. Because you know what? I don't know these people. And yeah. I'm not I was thinking about turtle ass eating. Like, I was not. My God.
Well, yeah, I think that's.
And here I am getting so angry at him for, you don't get this and that. Oh my God. See?
Yeah, and you know, again,
so funny.
To connect it even to the monologue, I'm just presenting a point of view. Do I necessarily believe everything? You know, maybe not. It's more about presenting logical arguments, and if you want to refute them, go ahead. I thought you had good criticisms of the monologue itself too. It's about, you know, having the self-awareness. Like, I'm really glad that we can criticize each other.
You're gonna watch this playback when you edit this, and you're reading the monologue, and I'm just sitting here like, this motherfucker really tried it. What can I say to make him upset once he's done with this monologue? How can I tell him this was shit, even though you just told me some very horrific things, and I'm just thinking about myself. I'm like, oh
yeah,
my
and it
God.
probably annoyed you because I was like, oh, devil's advocate. I like that. That's a good retort. And you're like, oh, God damn it. Well, yeah, I think that's the main thing is we connect to what we know.
This was great, and I love you.
I love you. Are you ending it?
Well, I might fuck you, so you know,
well, we might have to end this sooner than later. This is going great. Yeah, because that's what I was saying. We connect to things that we know. Like, when she said she was taking sex away from me, that was the most tragic thing I've heard today, you know, or said. You know
what? Some people out there might be like, oh, my God, how could you do that? Like, you shouldn't use sex that way. It's like...
Oh yeah, well, it's sex has been used since like
the dawn of time,
yeah.
ladies.
Yeah, as I say, the world's oldest profession is whoring, prostitution.
Okay, now is back to no. Is it back to no? Because what are you trying to say? I don't like what that was. What was that?
A joke.
So that's okay. See, oh my God,
can't even see.
Oh, I have problems.
Okay, really quick. Let's talk about this really quick, and then we'll end it.
Okay.
This outrage culture that we're talking about right now,
which I've experienced 3 times during a podcast that we film at home with no audience. It's just me and you. Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to affect stand-up comedy if stand-up comedy ever returns?
You know what? For the real ones, the real comedians, the ones that understand that you can't be offended by shit. God, I feel like such a fraud right now because I was just offended and fuck. by you. That doesn't count though, because I fuck this dude. I don't fuck the audience. Okay? It's different when you fucking someone. Anyways,
yeah.
I think that it will affect stand-up comedy as much as comedians allow it to. So we have a duty as stand-up comedians to remember that as a comedian, we should not. But see, I learned something tonight. We can't get offended. We can't. Like, it's just about having a conversation. And guess what? The whole point of comedy is funny. It doesn't have to even make logical sense. As long as it's funny, that's what it's about. It's about being funny. And I just think that people have been home for too long. A lot of comedians have now turned into social media activists. It's like, where are the jokes? Where is the funny skits? Now it's just tweets.
Yeah, I think we can circle it back to something earlier we said where right now entertainers and comedians especially, they're letting the audience dictate them as opposed to dictating how the audience should feel through their craft. And I think that's a big issue. And
unless you are fucking the audience, okay, no.
And you probably shouldn't be fucking the audience right now because, Corona.
Oh, yeah, that too.
But yeah, no, what I'm getting at is, like, the main thing is there's a lot of people who, they're going to have certain opinions on this, but you shouldn't let their opinions dictate what you do. I really think that's the most important part.
Can we just all appreciate the level of calm that Eric had throughout this entire podcast? He was like, I'm just presenting ideas. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. This is not even what I feel. I'm just saying this might be what other people feel. That was smooth. But still. And then I was over here being like, you said what? I ain't fucking you now. I'm upset. I'm going to unfollow you. I'm going to block you. I'm going to take back my likes. See, I was acting like the mob over here. The mob with this pussy, okay? I was acting like the pussy mob.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, I just think in the end we're kind of weaponizing approval and disapproval. And in the end, it's the confident people, truly confident people aren't worried about approval or disapproval. They're going to do what they do no matter what. It is the insecure.
Oh, honey, you are so confident. That's good.
Is that what you saw when you first saw me with my shitty haircut and my shitty apartment?
When I saw him with shitty haircut, didn't give a fuck what he was wearing. I was like, this dude must have a big dick, because that is the only way you could not care, because you just know you slanging. You're like, I don't give a fuck about shit. I got a big dick, so I'm just gonna do me. Okay, anyways.
Unfortunately, for a long time period of my life, I was just doing me. Just a lot of doing me in the bathroom.
Oh my God. It's disturbing.
But yeah, then I met you and it all worked out.
Aw, it's so sweet. So anyways, what you were saying? Insecure people?
Yeah, no.
Insecure people struggle with narcissism.
I think people get.
I get insecure at times, clearly.
Yeah, you see.
I'm fluctuating.
You see it all the time. People will try to sway you in certain ways. I respect people more for not being swayed by opinions. I think that's key.
You know what I think it is? I think that men and women are different. Okay, I'm not trying to blame this on my female energy, but I'm just way more emotional at times. Okay,
Sexist.
I am working on handling that. Also, my period's about to start, so that's what it is.
That's why we're fucking tonight.
Oh my God, you're just disturbing. See, I'm like, oh my God,
that's why you're wearing
so
red.
Gross. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. I was like, when I insult him, that means I'm into it. See, I got problems. I'm trying to fix myself.
I had problems when you said you weren't gonna fuck, but now that we're having sex, it's gonna be a-okay.
That's great. That's so good. Good for you.
I just thought about how your parents watch this episode, and I actually, to Bill and Esper, we're not having sex. We're gonna read the Bible, and we're gonna play Uno later.
And we're gonna sing "I Love Jesus."
I do. He's a cool guy.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you love him, because if you didn't, this would not work.
This has been a
great
really
episode.
funny episode.
It's been a really funny episode. Leave in the comments what has been something that has offended you recently.
Yeah, maybe it's us.
Yeah. Anyways, this has been another episode of the Comedy Cupcake Show.
Love you, baby.
I love you too.
Until next time.